Good evening, America. I'm Scott Binsack, CEO and founder of March for America. It is March 26th, 2017. Tonight, I'm going to be bringing you, has General Flynn flipped? Is he a Russian spy? Is this just another false story, fake news, or is it accurate? I'm going to say it's accurate. Shockingly, yes. And I'm going to say it's also a throw under the bus by the White House to disassociate itself from General Flynn. This all began with seeds being planted during the election cycle from Hillary Clinton and others that the Russians interfered with our election. And it has continued to grow and grow and grow and grow, and it is the false flag narrative to assassinate Donald Trump by false flag narrative that the Russians interfered with our election and that he and his team conspired with Putin to win the election. That's what they want America and the world to believe, that Donald Trump is not a legitimate president. And this latest wave is just an additive to this crazy, crazy, crazy story. However, this deep state shadow swamp false flag is taking its toll, and the reality of it is harming Donald Trump's presidency and has cast a cloud over it. Adding the most recent failure in Congress with the Obama care bill from Ryan and Reince Priebus, which I believe is a setup for failure, is just another additive to the mix. The swamp must be drained. I want to go back in and start on how this General Flynn matter, and General Flynn, even prior to Donald Trump winning the election, has come under scrutiny. He was fired originally by the Obama presidency, which rightfully so, meaning Flynn hated Obama. He hated his Iran deal, and he knew all the secrets about Obama's Iran deal. Trump picked him up. Trump has been, close with him and defending him up until a few days ago. And then suddenly a National Inquirer story hits. Trump catches Russia's White House spy. Then, at the same time, we had on CNN a Harvard professor come in and say that she believed there was that Flynn had flipped and is with the FBI. And sources are saying that Flynn has flipped. And if you look at the Senate Investigation Committee, they suddenly, after Nunes' announcement that he's going to be calling back Comey and Rogers this week, he postponed his hearing to question some of the Obama's team, which included Sally Yates, who we know was definitely a holdover, who refused to follow President Trump's orders, and then she was fired. A lot of Democrats, Schiff is now demanding and says he's seen evidence that there is some type of collusion with the Russians from the Trump team. We have Comey basically saying that Trump and team are under investigation by the FBI. And this National Inquirer article, and I want everybody to see, before we begin, don't tell me the National Enquirer isn't reputable. This is not the point of the story. And to the contrary, National Enquirer has become very reputable with a lot of its stories since being sued in the past and alike. And more importantly, Donald Trump is very close with David Pecker, who runs the National Enquirer. Yes, I just said Pecker. and he's a huge, longtime friend of Trump. The big news about this is that the National Enquirer is accusing former Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn of being a Russian spy. The story is huge, and here's why. Most people would say no one should believe anything from the National Enquirer. The fact that the National Enquirer says Flynn is a Russian spy likely means that Flynn isn't a Russian spy, but this story matters because the man who runs the National Enquirer, as I said, David Pecker, is a huge longtime friend of Trump. The Enquirer only runs stories that help Trump. And there is no way the Inquirer would run this story unless Trump thought this story helped Trump. So the question is why the White House thinks it is Trump's advantage to suddenly throw Flynn under the bus. Here are some of the images from the Inquirer. We have Russia's White House spy exposed, KGB turncoat tells all. Now we go to CNN analyst Julie Kayyem, okay? She, on CNN, broke this, or leaked this, and it's gone viral ever since. And playing this,
more balanced, interesting. Juliet, an intelligence source is telling CNN that his move was a suicide bomb designed to destroy the Russia investigation. What do you say to that?
It certainly looks that way, whether that was his intention or not, because no one can look at this committee as formed as being objective. I will agree with Mark, though. I mean, I have much more confidence in the Senate investigation. They also have subpoena power. And then, of course, let's not forget there's an FBI investigation, which it does not have to, align around politics, which a lot, with 100 agents, that's a lot of agents looking into this information. So the House will continue, and it will, unfortunately, I think, just given what Nunes did this week, be difficult to take seriously. But there's another piece that came out today that Nunes said, which for me was the jaw dropper, when he said that now Carter Page, Manafort, and Roger Stone are all agreeing to talk somewhere, sometime to the committee. That may seem interesting. It's not that interesting to me because I don't think they'll be under oath. But the name that's not mentioned is a name I mention often on the show, Mike Flynn, the former National Security Advisor. It is starting to look like, from my sources and then also from open reporting, that Mike Flynn is the one who may have a deal with the FBI, and that's why we have not heard from him for some time.
Can I ask you something?
If that is true, this...
Go on. Finish your thought. Let her finish your thought.
No, if that is true, and it's just one has to look at, there's 4 names and 3 of them are willing to talk voluntarily. So, but if that is true, then there is someone who was high up in the team. He wasn't a mere volunteer, and was the National Security Advisor for some time, whose dealings with Turkey at one stage, and then of course with Russia, have come under suspicion. And as I've said before on the show with Jason and others, there's a lot of dots. I am not at collusion yet. But on a scale from 0 to 10, it's hard to be anywhere under 6 at this stage.
Can I ask you something? Juliet? So I heard this during the remember the Comey letter and the investigation and Hillary Clinton. Democrats would say Hillary Clinton is not under investigation. Jason is saying the president is not under investigation. Who's under investigation here? Is the president under investigation?
I don't know where Jason. I mean, I don't. We've been told by the FBI
no answer.
That
no answer.
That the president. Wait. Jason. So we've been told by the FBI so far that the president isn't specifically under investigation. But wait, we have also been told by Comey, and this is what we know so far. So I'm not speculating here. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. That the investigation does involve people related to the Trump campaign. We don't know who those people are, but we've all heard the same names. And their potential dealings with the Russians leading up to the campaign, including the most important thing, which is, of course, when was the release, and did the Trump campaign know the release of the WikiLeaks emails?
Okay.
There's no evidence. There's no evidence whatsoever of any wrongdoing.
Jason, 1 second. As I said, you don't have to be a collusion. It is just, as an investigation unfolds over time, a national security investigation unfolds in time, it takes time. People who didn't talk at some stage will talk later on. And the problem with what Nunes is doing is he's trying to get to the end before any of the investigators are there. That's all.
Okay.
I'm not at collusion. I'm not saying Trump should go to jail. But just let this unfold.
I got to get some.
Okay. This is where this sort of openly started to go viral. And you can see here Seth Abramson on Twitter just has made this go madness. First, an attorney, I want to make it clear that his CNN analysis sources are correct. The Russiagate scandal is blown wide open. All this based on Julia Kamin's outburst here on CNN. Okay? So, looking at all of this and looking at the history of what's going on here, it is very clear that, and from our sources, Flynn has been missing. Basically, he hasn't shown his face, he hasn't been around, and you see Manafort coming in to openly testify, and he's going to be thrown under the bus as well. Trump has already started to throw Manafort under the bus, but just up to a couple days ago, Flynn was not thrown under the bus by Trump, and then the Inquirer hits, and as I said, he's very close with the head man, Mr. Pecker, at the Inquirer. So, openly saying this, you see Comey going to the White House the other day, okay, he was there allegedly for some meeting, normal scheduled meeting. We're not buying that. There's something very huge going down this week. Very, very huge going down this week. And it's going to start tomorrow and get worse. And if Flynn has flipped, and this Inquirer article is huge because Donald Trump or anyone in his team would not allow this to be on the Inquirer unless they wanted to separate themselves from Flynn. Unless someone within the White House, because there are moles still in there, and I believe it's Reince Priebus, okay, Paul Ryan, he's not in the White House, but he's in Trump's ear all the time, are truly the moles behind this, as well as there's other people in there who could have leaked this to the Inquirer because they know Trump trusts the Inquirer, and they're trying to play and plot against Trump to cover their own self up, because to get rid of, there is the bigger deal here is that this Russian, it is a false flag that the intelligence agencies have made up. And you know what? I keep going back. I actually looked at some old videos during the election, the night Trump got elected, and thereafter I kept telling everybody they're going to use this Russian narrative and that the Russians interfere with the election as a way to bring Donald Trump's presidency down. In other words, with impeachment, criminal charges, and the like. Schiff is now calling and saying he's seen enough evidence that warrant a special prosecutor and or grand jury. You're hearing nothing from Jeff Sessions because Jeff Sessions can't get involved in this, and you still have an Obama holdover running the Department of Justice. This is a serious situation for the Trump White House, and there is a cloud over the White House. This GOP bill, horrible. And Donald Trump, I'm going to say something out of the utmost respect I have. He should have never said the Democrats this is the Republicans' fault. And the people say, why would Ryan do that to his career? I want you all to understand. If Trump is forced to resign and or impeached, Pence becomes president and Ryan becomes what? Vice president. Okay? Now, if America would take their head, the right take their head out of ass and pay attention and start to really understand what's happening, and that this coup against Trump is very real, and that it's going to take the American people to change it. The Republicans are getting nothing done. They're also against the wall now, okay? They're coming out against the wall. They come out against the health care bill, which I believe that bill was horrible, and Ryan was trying to shove it down his throat and is set up for Trump. Do you think now they're going into tax reform? watch what happens here and how bad this gets sucked up. But first, you got to get through the Russian matter. And the Russian matter is growing by the day. And you have now Comey, as many have, and then I've done 2 shows previous to this having to do with Montgomery. His information, his lawyers went to, and his lawyers set up with Comey almost 2 years ago, where he got immunity, gave him all his information, clearly proves that Project Dragnet under Brennan and Clapper were with Obama, were listening not just to Trump, but others and millions of other Americans. Okay? And there's lists are endless. Joe Arpaio hired Montgomery. I had that in my video yesterday. Went through it. Even Alex Jones got given the information. He got it. He wanted to get it to Washington. I fully believe he got it to the right people in their hands there. And Nunes has then additional sources have come forward, and Nunes got other information. He's backpedaled. America has to understand that this is a serious coup, like third world, what we would do to a third world government and what third world governments do. Obama's running this show. Hillary Clinton is emerged running this show. Elizabeth Warren, okay, with George Soros behind them, and you have your own Republicans and Democrats. There is no two-party system. A majority are against Donald Trump. A lot of them are even, the Koch brothers put out, and it's a true story, they have offered congressmen not to vote yes on the health care bill. You have the General Flynn cloud that has been going on, and General Flynn, I believe, is dirty. Okay, I don't believe Trump knew about it, but I believe he's dirty. Okay, and he's been known, the history of Flynn, and now we have this matter with him with Turkey, and now we have Paul Manafort. Manafort with Ukraine, he's claiming he's being set up. He's come forward to say he wants to speak to, the Senate. He's offered to speak himself. It looks like without the request of immunity. We don't know that yet. But it's an offer to speak before them. And now this. And you know what? For Trump to throw Flynn under the bus with the Inquirer, this is big. And I'm telling you that visit from Comey to the White House was to pre-warn Trump and to discuss with him what is coming down the pike. And I'm going to say something. General Flynn's spokesperson, okay, say agent, spokesperson, did not deny that Flynn had cut a deal with the FBI. So if Flynn didn't cut a deal with the FBI, then they would have said proudly, listen, no deal's been cut, okay, because Flynn got himself in a serious jam. And maybe he is a spy, so to speak, okay. He's been working, he knows Putin, everything. And then you have Manafort. They're trying to frame him up with lots of money, millions made over in Ukraine with Putin and that. And I believe Manafort's scared, okay. I believe Manafort's scared. And I believe that possibly Putin will take him out too. Okay? Because if he was dealing with Putin, he certainly doesn't want that information out. And Putin he's a straight out gangster. Understand this. Russia's growing in the Middle East as we speak. The reports are coming out, and I've said this for months as well. I said, watch how Russia and Iran start to take over the Middle East. Russia has joined itself with China at the hip, and Iran. Iran's using the S-300 missile system now to protect itself, okay? And it is one of the best in the world. Syria. Russia is basically running Syria with Bashar al-Assad. He's also connected heavily and building his relationship with Turkey. They're building a massive alliance. While the United States sits back, and I'm saying sit back. You want to know why? Because we're not getting anything done in this country. The Democrats and the corrupt Republicans they don't care about this country or its well-being. They care about just taking down Donald Trump and their own personal agendas. Donald Trump is not a globalist. He's against globalization. He wants to stop immigration, illegal immigrants coming in this country. He's stopping the constant flow of refugees in this country, which is immigration ban bill, as you've seen, from the judicial branch, basically treasonistic. I mean, these judges are far-reaching to deny a president an executive order. Now you have North Korea getting ready. It's already said it's ready to going to launch off another ballistic missile test with new technology. My sources are telling me if North Korea does this, or even if they get set up to do it, that they'll preemptive strike against North Korea. We'll see if I'm right for the first time in a very, very long time, and North Korea should be lit up. But remember all of this I'm saying to you is going under this big cloud of this Russian. The Russians did it. The Russians did it. Then we have the wiretapping claim that they will not let go of. Was Trump listened to? Yes. The word wiretapped at Trump Towers, I believe Donald Trump was saying in his own way that he was listened to on his conversations, okay, and his team's conversations. And Trump Towers with a bank that I believe 1,000% that the CIA has set up on a false alternative to make it look like Russia was communicating with a bank in Trump Towers, is how they created that particular part of this. And it was in October, and it was a way to try to throw Donald Trump under the bus prior to election. Hillary Clinton on October 31st tweeted about it. Check out the server and the links between Russia and that. All these people know this. How they can stand back and say that there was no wiretapping or no espionage, we'll say, by Barack Obama or others, by Clapper or Brennan or Comey against Donald Trump and his associates is the craziest story under the bus. To throw under the bus. I mean, it's the craziest story. Of course, it's everywhere. Then you have major news outlets and media outlets pushing the same stories. Now they're pushing the story that this is coming out and this Inquirer story is huge. This isn't from our Harvard girl at CNN. This is directly from a White House source who they're considering a KGB source. Okay, and the White House has confirmed it on a condition of anonymity. This is a deep state war like we have never seen. And this is a coup against Donald Trump to overthrow him and knock off his team and not be able to let him get anything done and have to walk away and or be impeached as a very bad president. And I've tried to tell everybody respectfully over and over and over again that this was their plan and this is what they're doing. And you do not see any real Republican congressmen or senators coming to Donald Trump's aid, do you? Not really. A few, a select few, but not many. Same thing with this ridiculous health care bill. So now Americans are stuck with an Obama sitting back on, in Tahiti, laughing as all of this takes place. You have Maxine Waters, the crazy woman that she is. As crazy as she is, she has ties to Obama's circle. Remember this. And here she is out tweeting, get ready for impeachment. You have David Brock, who's collected tens and tens of millions of dollars, working with American Bridge to destroy Donald Trump, and he put the money aside just to carry out the campaign that you see now to impeach Donald Trump and to get the public to turn. Trump is at the lowest rating any president's been at in a very, very long time. The Republicans, people are asking, why don't Republicans step up? The Republicans, a majority of them, when did the GOP stand up to elect Donald Trump? Somebody point out to me where the GOP stood up to help Donald Trump get elected. Donald Trump got himself elected using social media, okay, and a very good program set up with him and Kushner and the like. Jared is one of the most important confidants to Donald Trump. Now they're tying Flynn and Jared Kushner together to a December 16th meeting that took place with a Russian ambassador. So, Kushner's being thrown into this as well. And for this Inquirer article to come out, and Donald Trump, as I said, is very close to its head, Pecker himself. That name, Pecker. Yo, Pecker! We won't go there, sorry. Okay, let's forget about CNN. People are trying to say that the CNN thing was fake and that what she said, this is a Harvard professor now, okay? They're saying that she's a fake. Let's put that aside, okay? Let's put the CNN situation aside. Let's forget she ever existed, okay? Let's go back to square one before CNN, okay? Let's go back to the Inquirer article. Okay? Let's get rid of the CNN analysis, Juliette Kayyem, and her claim. Let's say goodbye to her. And let me find here. We'll go National Enquirer. Here it is. 2 days ago, National Enquirer, brands Flynn. Okay, let's go here. Russia's White House spy exposed. This is the key point here. Let's forget about CNN. World exclusive, Trump catches Russia's White House spy. Russia's White House spy exposed by who? KGB turncoat tells all. They have a leaker. March 23rd at 7:40 a.m. this broke. The one man who can expose Russia's vast infiltration of America has been hiding in plain sight, and now the KGB spy master is telling all in the new issue of the National Enquirer on newsstands now. The insider's shocking revelations about the Kremlin spies on U.S. soil are backed by top White House officials who claim ousted Trump advisor Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn was in essence the Russian spy in Trump's midst. Even better is the top White House officials telling the Inquirer that Flynn is a Russian agent. Again, the Inquirer is close to Trump. Why would they lie about the White House claiming this story is real unless the White House approved it? Now there's one odd, stupid ads. Now there's one odd caveat. Note how the Inquirer says Flynn was in essence a Russian spy. They're hedging a bit, which might mean this is an inflammatory tease made to look like they're accusing Flynn of being a Russian agent, only to have the story less salacious. The story isn't online, so we can't tell you. The Inquirer wants you to buy their paper to read it, that's why. What we can tell is that the Inquirer clearly wanted to damage Flynn's reputation. Now here's a copy. The editor of the blog here got a copy, and this is a reputable blogger. Hiding after Trump catches Kremlin's White House. Mole Michael Flynn. This is the man who can blow the lid off Russia's vast infiltration of America and provide President Donald Trump with information smarter than almost everybody, says Barsky, whose birth name is Albrecht Dietrich. The revelations come as still unfolding details continue to worm their way into the public's eye about Trump's own White House turncoat, now ousted National Security Advisor and retired Lieutenant General Mike Flynn, colluded with the Russian officials and then had the chutzpah to lie about it when questioned by Vice President Mike Pence. He was in essence the Russian spy in Trump's midst, said an administration source who spoke to the Inquirer on a condition of anonymity. Trump was lucky to root him out when he did. The unfolding Russian spy drama will overshadow the House of Representatives. This is before the vote having to do with Obamacare. Now, here's the question. He even brings it up in here. It's our first question. Why would Team Trump do this to Flynn? One, because possibly they fear Flynn has become a liability, perhaps turning states' evidence against them, or because they've gotten wind of such damaging information about Flynn that they feel the need to distance themselves. So they did as they did with Manafort, as I said last week. And Manafort has been thrown under the bus. And Manafort has serious ties to Ukraine. You have to look at this and put all these pieces together. Trump's entire campaign and then thereafter transition surrounds what? As the left and the shadow government, and we'll just put deep state, has pushed all of this Russian shit on top of it. And I said it the minute Hillary Clinton said it against the Podesta emails. They're also going after right now that they believe that Donald Trump and or someone in his team worked with the Russians to hack Podesta's emails to go and release these emails via WikiLeaks. Just so you know, this is the other end that they're going with that now. This is where they're going. Okay? This is a huge turn of events here, and up until a few days ago, the White House was defending Flynn. The White House is no longer defending Flynn. So, like I said, let's put the CNN, well, the Miss Harvard over here. They threw Manafort under the bus last week, but not Flynn. So something changed to make them turn to Flynn. And remember, Comey visited the White House. Okay? And I'm telling you, this has to do with, I'm telling you, somebody is turned here and somebody's ratting, and Comey doesn't care because Comey wants this to happen. Okay? Comey wants this to happen. Comey is with the shadow government, deep state. He is a Clinton lover, tied to the Clinton Foundation. I mean, we don't have to go through the history of Comey anymore. Okay? Now, if you really want to go all 007, another reason to sacrifice Flynn might be to save someone else. That's what I'm saying. If there's a bigger fish who's been compromised by the Russians, throw the world the smaller fish who may not have even been involved and hope that their appetite is satisfied. One more possibility is it wasn't Trump. It was someone in the White House who turned on Flynn and asked the Inquirer to do this. We know that Donald Trump, as I've been saying, considers the Inquirer a reputable news source. And he does because he's very close with the owner. If you wanted to convince Trump that Flynn is bad news, you'd go throw a disreputable news source that Trump respects, like the Inquirer, Breitbart, or Fox. But this story is even too incidentary for Fox. So you go to the Inquirer. What if Bannon or some other senior official decided that Trump's defense of Flynn was damaging Trump? You hand the Inquirer a story. They can't refuse and hope that it sways Trump. You get what I'm saying? They're manipulating. The people around Trump cannot be trusted. This is like, I'd hate to be Donald Trump. He's stuck in the middle. Talk about in the swamp. Right now, he's sinking in the swamp. And, you have Reince Priebus. You have Paul Ryan. You have, which John McCain's not in there, but directly around, McCain's in there always throwing Trump under the bus. McCain runs around the country acting like he's the fucking president when he's not. Goes off to Syria and he's dealing with our oppositions, our personal opposition backed by the CIA against Assad. I mean, calls, ambassadors all over acting like he's the president. I think John McCain in the back of his head believes he's the fucking president. He's not. Of course, then you tick off Flynn. So now that Flynn is guaranteed to do whatever he can to save his own ass, including turning on Trump. So this entire story could be a major plant by someone within the Trump organization to get Trump to turn, in other words, to turn on Flynn, and at the same time to get Flynn to turn on Trump. And this brings me back to the same thing that happened with the Billy Bush tape with Trump, and this is what they were hoping, and Paul Ryan and Ryan's second in command dumped that tape deliberately to try to force Trump out and get Ryan in. That story was broken. Jack Polovic is the one who basically broke that story. And I saw Jack in October when it, right after it had come out, we had talked. Same thing, what was happening, and that's where I met with Vice President-elect Pence at the time, candidate Pence at the time and his wife. Same thing at Trump's D.C. hotel. That cloud that was around there, they were trying to use that tape to get Trump to drop out and convince him it was super bad and to get Pence in, and they were playing Pence against Trump without each one knowing it. This, to me, smells of the same thing, okay? This smells just like the same thing to try to force Trump out or to get Trump impeached or to get whatever Flynn's going to do, if he is going to do anything. But I can assure you, Flynn's in hiding. So when somebody goes in hiding in the Senate Investigation Committee, he's not volunteered to go before the Senate Investigation Committee. His representative is not denied that he's not working with the FBI, which is huge. This all points that Flynn is leaking and or working with the FBI to save his own ass, because somebody obviously threw Flynn under the bus and put his trash out there. Also keep in mind that all this is happening as Adam Schiff, the lead Democrat of the House Intelligence Committee, said he's been seeing evidence meriting going to a grand jury. I told you all a week ago that within a week you were going to see them say that they have evidence that will warrant to go to a grand jury. Go back and watch my thing. I've predicted this whole thing playing out exactly how it is. Exactly how it's coming down, even at the time of the election. And people don't want to listen. People think that this is going to go away, and it's not going to go away. Okay? Laura Ingraham has even just said recently on I believe she was on Sean Hannity when she said it, that this is serious. I mean, this entire matter, this whole thing is like a sinking ship in the swamp. And if American people don't get behind Trump and after their congressmen and senators, you're going to watch this whole thing implode as it is. And I'm telling you, this week is going to go down in history. We'll see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. And Schiff has come out saying he's seen something new and something troubling. What was it? And was it related to Flynn and today's news? Okay? And then we'll go into Schiff breaking. He says here on Twitter, right here, he says, breaking, chairman just canceled open intelligence committee hearing with Clapper, Brennan, and Yates in an attempt to choke off public info. This is what Schiff is claiming that Nunes did. Okay? And Nunes is saying, wait, no, I want to speak to Comey and Rogers before we have that hearing in, having to do with Obama's people of Clapper, Brennan, and Yates. Because, and you know what I say? Obama should be immediately brought before the Senate Investigation Committee. Okay? Hillary should be brought before the Senate Investigation Committee and ask her about her October 31st tweet about how she found out and where she got her information that she tweeted about. Do you not see any of these? You don't see any of these characters, these fucking shadow creatures being brought before the Senate Intelligence Investigation Committee. All they're doing is this is all anti-Trump, from Manafort, Roger Stone, everything. Okay? They're even deeming that, that Alex Jones may be, tied to the Russians. Next, they'll be saying I'm tied to the Russians. Yeah, I'm tied to the Russians, all right? Anyway, what is Nunes hiding? This is what they're saying. Why is he afraid of having a larger public discussion about this issue? In other words, Schiff is trying to make it look that Nunes is hiding something to protect Donald Trump, when in fact what Schiff is doing is bullshit. Schiff does not want, he's trying to put a cloud of adversity over the fact that Comey's got to come back in and testify, as well as Rogers. And I'm telling you, that has got to do with not just the secondary source to Nunes, but the first source having to do with Montgomery and Montgomery's attorney, who sent the letter to Nunes directly, who also met with chief counsel to the Senate Investigation Committee, explained to him what he had. They all got served with letters saying that if Comey was not questioned, and others, about this information that Comey's been sitting on for almost 2 years, that clearly proves that there was serious spying going on through, you want to call it the hammer, the supercomputer as they're calling it, and under Project Dragnet. Is Project Dragnet still going? That was, Obama knew all this. Obama's had all that. Obama's been spying on everybody. And if you just look, forget even about Angela Merkel, she was spied on. Obama spied on everybody. And with Clapper and Brennan. And Clapper resigned. Remember this, Clapper resigned as well. So this is their alternative, way. The best spin the White House could come up with is that a Russian mole got inside the White House. What's the worst spin? What possibly story could the White House be trying to hide, protect, if they're using the claim Trump hired a Russian spy in the White House as cover? This is a very strange and very important story. The fact is that the Inquirer doesn't make this story meaningless. It makes it a huge story. That's my point. Forget the biatch on CNN. Okay? Let's forget that woman even exists. So I don't care if they want to say whatever she did was for you know, that's that. Here's the National Enquirer itself. Goodbye, ads. Have a nice day. Right here. This is where this has come from. They want you to go out and buy the, you know, buy the tabloid itself. Oh, can we please get rid of the ads? Unbelievable. Anyway, this is where this is all coming from. Red State News is having, you guys probably can't see it on my screen because it's on the left side over, but 3 hours ago, here's a new one. Let's see. What do we got here? National Enquirer's serial spy novel featuring Hillary, Flynn, Assange, Pence, and Ryan. Oh, here's a new one. Let me see what you can see on my screen, because this screen is huge. Let me go into that screen. Hang on a second. Let me get you into this. Much bigger screen. This article just came out a few hours ago. Right here. National Enquirer's Enquirer's serial spy novel. Okay? Where is Sessions? Sessions cannot get involved in this. Sessions recused himself because he knew, and now I know why at the time we all yelled at, why did Sessions do it? He didn't even ask Trump's advice. Because Trump is under federal investigation, as is Trump's team, by the FBI. And this is what Comey did. I'm going to say something to everybody, and I'm going to say it again. And I was right on the money, because then they brought it out on the news thereafter, within a couple of, not even 24 hours. This is what Comey's chess move was. He was called before the Senate Investigation Committee, and he says, "What? I'm investigating." You know, he did not that. He puts it out there that he's basically investigating Trump and team. Okay, so hear me out. Now that he's done that, Trump cannot just suddenly try to force him out or demand his resignation, because then it would look like Trump's trying to cover up his own criminal investigation into himself and or his team. The mistake here was that when Donald Trump came on board and got inaugurated, whoever told Donald Trump to keep on Comey is key for Trump to go back and look at. And that person is against Donald Trump. I'm telling you now. They sweet-talked him into keeping Comey on board. We were all shocked. I was shocked as hell. And yes, he is. And then Comey came out thereafter recently and said, you know, I'm staying another 6 years. I'm not going anywhere. That's because Comey knew information that we don't know, that Trump doesn't even know. Okay? Now Trump probably knows. They're not telling Trump. Here's the problem. These intelligence agencies are not telling Trump shit. That's the problem. And Comey's excuse is, I can't tell you because you're under investigation, even though you're the president. And Trump can't get rid of Comey, meaning force him out, because it would look definitely like. So Comey played a chess move with someone close to Trump to ensure that Comey stayed in power, along with his second in command, who is very close to Hillary, based on new information that has come out that McCabe's wife, which we all know, got a very large sum, $500,000 from Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, okay, for her failed political run. He never disclosed that. He got promoted up during the Hillary Clinton email investigation, and he was handling that email. That's enough evidence to to reopen the whole email case against Hillary Clinton, that both McCabe and Comey should recuse themselves because they had previous ties, but McCabe especially. I mean, this is like people worried about human trafficking, all these other things, and no disrespect, you all better focus on this Russian matter and what's taking place here in this major, major execution by false intel. This is the the intelligence communities on full full destroy Trump mode. And everybody said, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. This isn't going to happen. Oh, it's happening. Comey has tenure. He has tenure. He has 6 years left. But Trump could have forced him out when he got it after he got inaugurated and sworn in. Trump announced that he was going to keep Comey. In other words, any president could force out the heads of regardless of what their tenure is. Trust me, they can get them out. Somebody convinced Trump to keep Comey, and whoever that person or persons are, that's who Trump needs to look to, because that is a Benedict Arnold. Okay, that is a turncoat, rat, backstabber. Just like the Ryan health care bill. Why did they have to put the health care bill first anyway? They didn't have to put the health care bill first. They tried to jam this down in the Republicans. Forget the Democrats owning it, Obamacare. Trump should be pissed at the Republicans and Ryan, and now he's saying he wants to keep Ryan. Ryan needs to go. So whoever is really in Trump's ear and advising him, and if it is Bannon doing this, or Reince Priebus doing this, Donald, Reince Priebus is going to sell you down the boat. You're going to be going down, back to Trump Towers in a rowboat, my man. This is not, Trump needs to get some serious people around him. And here's the screwed up part, everybody. He's the president. He can get a hold of all these documents from the NSA and he still has not changed the executive order that Obama did roughly 16 days before he left office, opening up the NSA and their information to go out to 16 other branches so that it's sprinkled everywhere. This evidence is going everywhere. All top secret information that used to be controlled by the NSA, and it's a law that Reagan put into play. Obama, not conveniently, deliberately changed so that leakers could get his people, his shadow government people, could get their hands on this NSA information without even using a FISA warrant. And it's been admitted. There are whistleblowers that have come forward admitting now that Obama did set up Trump for failure. So that's a whole nother story about to break that's slowly starting to get in. But this Russian matter keeps clouding it, and now you have the failure of repealing and replacing Obamacare. I don't believe it's Bannon. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm saying. But this Inquirer story is huge. And people need to understand, it's a National Enquirer, it's fake news. As I just told you, it's a factual matter. Google Trump's relationship to Pecker, that's his name, last name Pecker. That's worse than the Clapper. Yikes. Here, think about that at Pecker. Jesus. Yes, Shirley. They're not going to give him all the info. That's the problem. Do you want to know that the Senate Investigation Committee, through Nunes, has requested from Comey since the 15th of copies of information that Comey is refusing to turn over? Do you not understand our government is in a complete and utter, takeover mode? It is no regard for the law, no regard for the Constitution, no regard for the branches of the checks and balances that we have in place in our country. We are really basically living in a third world country under civil war. We are at civil war, not with guns and that. We're in civil war, left versus right, and it's really not even left versus right. It is the shadow government against. And the threat, sorry, people around it's a complete and utter sham. And it's being exposed. It's run by globalists. The puppets, Trump's not a puppet. They're puppeting around him. They're controlling him and leading him in all these directions. And he's got fire after fire to put out. And you're also dealing with international matters that we're on the verge of World War III. Let's understand that. And I think that's where people mistake or get confused, that this country, regardless who the president is, needs to protect itself. And you have Democrats and Republicans not even wanting to govern the United States under Donald Trump. They're refusing orders. They're refusing subpoenas. They refuse everything. Look at sanctuary cities. They are voting, and to hold up. Our city's going to be sanctioned. We don't care. We don't care. We don't have to follow federal law. Start locking these people up. And I say, where's Jeff Sessions? Start locking and indicting these people. They refuse to follow federal law. Start doing it. Now you're going to have the whole thing with the wall, by the way, is going to get ready to come under heavy, heavy fire. And you know what? They don't even have to do this. There's already a bill in play that's there to build this wall. They don't need to do tariffs and they don't need to do taxes. They need to put the wall up based on that of bonds, like we've done many other infrastructure projects all the way back to the 1800s, both in the U.S. as well as international, what they call infrastructure bonds. They create the money that they need to build the wall by international and national investors and put a toll on the fucking border and get it done. I don't know who advises these people, but this is really common sense. This is not difficult. Why they're making it difficult is because both sides, and the Republicans are foolish. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. Both the Republicans and Democrats, and I'm going to say this, let's say this. The Republicans know something and want something else. And I'm telling you, Ryan wants Trump out and Pence in and him as vice president. I'm telling you. Why would, let's ask you this. The FBI has sat on Montgomery's information, which is bigger than Snowden's information, for 2 years. Why not bring it forward? Why? Because it would destroy Obama. It would destroy Obama as well as even cloud Bush and bring the truth about, again, what you see with Vault 7, with WikiLeaks and other information that's come out, how dirty and corrupt what our CIA is doing and creating these false flags, making it look like China hacked our systems or, infrastructure elections, and Russia hacked our elections and China interfered with this and Sony and this and that. It's all, I'm telling you, a majority of them. And yes, do countries spy against each other? Yes. But a majority of all these major events that have happened, especially in the month of October, if we break down all the events that happened in October of 2016, they're huge. Huge, including the major SOS attack against the United States that shut down parts of Twitter for a while, PayPal, and all that. They said that was hackers. At the same time, Julian Assange was getting attacked and got his internet taken away at the embassy. You have John Kerry over there at the same time. All these things were happening. Then you have the Trump issue coming out and articles starting to surface October 31st with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton should be brought before the Senate Investigation Committee and asked, Miss Clinton, where did you come up with this tweet? Where did you get this information having to do with the Russians? Okay. Having possible that Donald Trump had a server in Trump Tower that was communicating with the Russians. Where? Everything is, why is Podesta needs to be, Podesta's brother is now working and dealing with and has a contract with one of Russia's biggest banks to try to negotiate, and thus the Russian government, to negotiate sanctions, the reduction of sanctions with the United States against Russia. They're looking all in the wrong places. And they're deliberately looking in all the wrong places because the objective, is to, one, as they started way back then, to not recognize Donald Trump as a legitimate president and get America and the rest of the world to believe the same thing. Number two, to bring down Donald Trump and his presidency, that he allegedly colluded, conspired with the Russians to overtake Hillary in the elections, as well as thereafter to cut deals with Russia to release sanctions. And Trump did bring up reducing sanctions, which he should. We need a good relationship with Russia. And while all this is going on, while our great, shadow government operates to take down Donald Trump, Russia's growing by the day. So is China. So is Iran. Under who? Obama's failed, miserable, hidden. Let's notice this is an executive order. Most people do not know what's in the Iran deal. It's still secret, a lot of it, and Iran grows by the day. And they keep getting richer and more military might and the likes. Who is benefiting from all this? Obama, Soros, globalists, the Clintons, the Clinton Foundation. And America is suffering every day while everybody's battling, both the Republicans and the Democrats. They don't even give this man, Donald Trump, President Trump, an opportunity to be president because they're cutting his hands off every time he tries to go and do something, and he's listening to the wrong people. And I know Donald Trump's smart enough to figure this out, but when he comes out and goes, I'm keeping Ryan. No, Ryan right now, this is a perfect opportunity for Donald Trump to dump Ryan and get that rat mole out, turn traitor out of the entire mix. We are truly, he's got to get tough on this. It's like he's afraid to go to this thing, and that's starting to worry me because we had information, and I had it from a very good source, that possibly, there's a lot of talk here, and we're going to see where this Flynn situation goes, but I'm telling you, I believe you're going to see that Flynn has turned. Okay? I'll say 75%. And one of the main reasons for that is because his own representative, spokesperson, when contacted, said they can, they're not denying it, that he is working with the feds, and they're not saying that he is. That's basically an admission of yes. Because if he wasn't, why wouldn't Flynn and Flynn's people want him to know, no, I'm not working with the FBI. I would never do that. I'm not, think about this. This is all common sense, everybody. Patriots are not happy. I'm not happy. A lot of people are not happy. Repeal and replace Obamacare. Repeal and replace Obamacare. Guess what? Republicans are at fault for this. They had 7 years to come up with a bill. 7 or 8 years to come up with a bill. And Ryan comes up with this bullshit thing. I'm telling you, it was deliberate. It was a deliberate failure to send. So let's look since Donald Trump has come in, he's gone after the executive order of preventing certain immigrants from coming in this country for the safety of the United States. Shot down by liberal judges connected to Obama. The first one in New York that started with the Iranian detainees with writ of habeas corpus, that then went to Washington State. Okay, Washington State, no, Ninth Circuit, they picked the perfect court to do this. Boom, makes it across the country. Okay, the TRO. Ninth Circuit upholds it. Ninth Circuit's been overturned 80% of its time. The court should be totally dissolved. Okay, then the second one we go into and have a Hawaiian judge who's super, super close with Obama. Where is the investigation into this man to get him impeached? This should be, where are the Republicans demanding him to call for a special investigation into this Hawaiian judge? Why Obama met with him before? Why he overreached so far and didn't even pay attention to the law at all? Why he's putting his personal opinions in it and his ties to Obama and how this is affecting the country? Where are the inquiries? You have to ask yourself, and the answer is the Republicans are working against, as they did during the election, against Donald Trump. And now, with the censoring going on, they're trying to cut off the Trump supporters and the truthers from the right from getting that information out on the internet, because they know that that's Donald Trump's source to the people. Because you can't count on mainstream media. You can't count on mainstream media except for certain shows on Fox and other, a couple of others. But majority, I see people watching. I had a meeting and I walked in and there was the MSNBC was on the freaking TV, and I'm like, oh my God, just listening to these people, and I don't watch it. I just listening to what they were saying. I'm like, for real? These people must live on, like crack and Xanax. The stuff that they come out with is like the most bizarre, but yet millions of people listen to them. The movement in this country, anti-Trump, they're training people at seminars to be anti-Trump. The ACLU is doing the same thing. While the right just goes, oh, well, okay. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I don't mean all of you. I'm just saying a majority of the right. A majority of the right. And it just fathoms me. And you know what? You're going to watch your president that you voted for implode and sink in the swamp. And the only way to stop this, and this is how it works in this country, and this is why the left is pushing so hard to get the populace in this country to stand up for and against Trump. Yes, Joanne, he does. We are about to be taking pictures as well. We're sending him out their custom jackets that I had put pictures up before to show you we had done for him, with scarves, a letter, membership cards, and things of that. We are in a serious situation. Maybe people don't want to face it in this country. Maybe people just want to keep their head in the sand. You see what's going on around this country? I mean, I could hit Google now and show you all, but I want to look at this story right here, this other one that's come up here. This one just hit a few hours ago. Trump catches... We won't even go on that. The claim that Trump catches Russia's White House spy, clearly an attempt to smear Mike Flynn, actually got me to drop $4.99 for a copy of the National Enquirer to read the hit job. And it's actually more than contrived effort to claim Flynn as a Russian spy. It's a 4-page spread implicating Hillary and Mike Pence, too. Oh, boy. I got to go buy this now. I got to go buy the National Enquirer. It's implicating Hillary and Mike Pence. This just hit. The story about Flynn is, instead, mostly a story about Jack Barsky, the former Russian spy who has gotten a lot of press of late tied to the release of his book. Yes, we all know Jack Barsky. Yikes. Just Thursday, CNN published an interview with him claiming what is clear is that email accounts of Democrat operatives were hacked, and those hacks originated in Russia. That's a lie. Seth Rich, God bless it. Seth Rich leaked the first set of DNC leaks, and it cost him his life. Anything beyond that is pure speculation, this guy says. This Jack Barsky is a piece of shit, and he's a liar, and he's getting paid to do this. But amid a 2-page story of Barsky's life, as the details of his life and Barsky himself were newly discovered, quotes, National Enquirer includes 2 quotes. A national security intelligence source warns of other Russian spies. Jack Barsky is a Russian spy that was caught, but what is really frightening is that there are others out there like him embedded deep in Washington, D.C. Barsky's being tracked down will greatly help the president smoke out other rats in his ranks. Not. And amid a 4-page paragraph discussion of Mike Flynn, National Enquirer quotes an administration source within the White House. The revelations about Barsky come as still unfolding details continue to worm their way into the public eye about Trump's own White House turncoat, now ousted National Security Advisor and retired Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn. Flynn was booted from Trump's cabinet after intercepted phone calls exposed how he colluded with Russian officials, and then had the chutzpah to lie about it when questioned by Vice President Mike Pence. He was, in essence, the Russian spy in Trump's midst, said an administration source who spoke to the Inquirer on the condition of anonymity. Trump was lucky to root him out when he did. The unfolding Russian spy drama will overshadow the House of Representatives Intelligence Committee hearing investigating alleged ties between Trump's campaign and Putin, sources said. Here's the biggest point. There is no Trump colluding with Putin or anyone else to get him in the White House. Of course, Trump's transition official, Devin Nunes, has already canceled the next hearing, as we said earlier, into ties between Trump's campaign and Putin. But perhaps Trump's plans on magnifying this hit job in upcoming days, replete with spooky language embedded, smoke out the rats, worm their way, turncoat, root him out, to shift the focus on disloyalty within the Trump administration. And as I said, we have to keep this in mind. Donald Trump is very close to the head man, Pecker, that's his name, at the Inquirer. And here's the center of the page. Trump crushes Clinton coup. It describes how Trump crushed Clinton coup designed to install Mike Pence, purportedly revealed by Julian Assange in these two tweets. Which I'm going to tell you something. That is correct. There was a coup to put in and install Mike Pence. Julian Assange. Clinton stated privately this month that she is quietly pushing for a Pence takeover. She stated that Pence is predictable, hence defeatable. Two IC officials from Julian Assange said two IC officials close to Pence stated privately this month that they are planning on a Pence takeover. Did not state if Pence agrees. Now, you know what? This month means this month that they are planning on a Pence takeover. It treats Assange's claims about his arch enemy as a credible because, as a Beltway insider sniffed, Assange is plugged in and has deep connections to Russian intelligence, along with similar networks around the world. The story cites a White House insider describing Trump giving Pence a loyalty oath. President Trump, this is alleged. Hang on a second. President Trump called Pence into the Oval Office and forced him to take a lie detector test to prove his loyalty. Pence swore he had nothing to do with Hillary and was being moved around like a chess piece in evil Hillary's game. There's a new one for everybody. President Trump called Pence, this is per the Inquirer allegedly, called Pence into the Oval and forced him to take a lie detector test. After alleging Baywatch Pamela Anderson's might be cut out and or love interest for Assange, what a crock of shit this is. The story then turns on Paul Ryan, citing a quote first published in October, the audio of which was released by Breitbart the same day as the Assange tweets, March 14th. I remember we all played that. The National Enquirer claimed that Hillary Clinton leaked the call to sow dissent before the health care vote. The timing of the leak is not coincidental. The call took place in October and leaked now, just as Ryan and Trump are working to muster support for a health care bill to replace Obamacare. Hillary's people leaked it to drive a wedge between Trump and Ryan, undermine their efforts to reform health care, and destroy the president. In short, the second article is even more fevered than the one implicating Flynn. Finally, in addition to a short piece attacking Chris Matthews, the spread includes a denial of Christopher Steele's dossier, claiming it showed Trump orgies and graphic sex involving hookers. That's the one in Russia, which is not precisely what P-Gate claimed. It then dismissed the claims because Trump neither drinks nor uses drugs, as if it would rule out orgies. Undoubtedly, all this was placed with the cooperation of the White House, if not direct quotes from Trump, which is something he has a history of doing, while the Flynn story has been viewed particularly alongside unsubstantiated claims that Flynn is cooperating with the FBI, as an attempt to damage him for snitching. It almost certainly dates to earlier than more recent attacks on Flynn, and in conjunction with stories of loyalty oaths from Pence appears tame by comparison. Trump wants to justify a witch hunt among the National Enquirer set, and at least thus far, Flynn and warnings of replacement by Pence are no more than excuse for launching it. This just came out. This just broke, and as I said, this is the bullshit that's going on. Okay, this is what's happening. So, Pence is a perfect pawn for Ryan. Yes, yes. This whole thing. I don't think he gave a lie detector test to Pence at all. I think it's all bullshit. This is my point. This entire thing is bullshit. However, the only thing that leads me to believe that possibly Flynn has flipped, okay, is that Flynn, one, hasn't been around. Flynn has not offered to come forward to the Senate Investigation Committee to speak, to answer questions. And three, it has been confirmed that that Flynn's spokesperson said they would not deny if Flynn was working with the FBI. That is the key part of all of that. of all of this. And now you have to ask yourself, we have to ask ourselves, why is the White House dumping on Flynn? Now, it is true that Hillary Clinton has been putting out this crazy story to put Pence in and take Trump out, meaning the timing of it all. Yes, Mike. The American people and all that's who's being played in all this. And Trump, I'm going to tell you something. I fully believe that Donald Trump in a lot of this is not like, because he's not a politician. He's a businessman. He's, that swamp in Washington is so deep, and right now with this cloud over him and all this BS, he's about up to his waist in the swamp. He's about up to his waist in the swamp. And God willing, he'll get out of the swamp. And yes, Flynn can expose the Iran deal. Okay? But you don't see anybody calling, remember this promise from Trump, the Iran deal is the worst deal going, and it is. They should be focusing on this Iran deal, and Rex Tillerson was supposed to be doing something with that as Iran just keeps showing its might, getting bigger and tougher with Russia. They're using Syrian bases now as Russia's using Iranian bases. Iran's got itself protected using the S-300 missile system that it never had before. Okay, so any missiles coming over, to say we wanted to attack Iran, it's very difficult with the S-300, depending upon how many Iran has bought. And yes, Stephen, you're right. The piranhas are gnawing at his knees as we speak. The saddest part of this is that many people have not gotten it yet that his own team in the GOP are highly against him. When you're against the president, you're against this country. You may not like him, you may not that, but when you're stalling, even as the Democrats are deliberately doing, to put picks in place, and Gorsuch is going to take a beating. Okay, it's going to take the nuclear. It's going to take them to go nuclear to get Gorsuch in, and I'm going to give you my theory and what I have come. Let's just say, this is what I believe. I believe they're trying to stall Gorsuch getting in as long as possible because they want to get Trump out before they get a chance to get Gorsuch in. And I mean, they're going to be moving fast, and they are moving fast. They're moving very, very fast. And I said this week, I believe this week will go down in history. We'll see. I fully believe that. People are asking, if Pence is iffy, why would Ivanka and the kids push for Pence? I mean, we may say Pence is iffy. They may say that he's not. They may be, I'm not saying, I met Pence and his wife. They're nice people, but that doesn't mean, what I'm trying to say is they're using, hang on a second. It's one of our March volunteers. That is going viral, by the way, and I'm going to get into that at the end. After this show, I'm going to be doing a special update for the MFA March event in live stream, as well as for the fund for that, as well as to upload into all the MFA events and onto its website through the event player. Let me just turn this down so everybody... We're getting ticket sales for Washington out. It's huge. It's huge. It's going crazy. Yeah, who's watching the watchers? Here's the deal. I'm going to say this again, and I know it's like preaching. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, everybody. If Americans do not, across this country, on the right, or Trump supporters, doesn't matter if you're independent, it doesn't matter. If you support Trump, and it doesn't matter, like I said, what party you're with, but if you support Donald Trump and you want to change in this country, and to get these people to stop the Obamas, the Clintons, the corrupt senators, the corrupt congressmen, and most of them are, I'm telling you, anyone that's in there corrupt, they're being either blackmailed, and this is where you get into this listening and spying on congressmen, senators, and millions of Americans, and even Donald Trump as a businessman, already proved by Montgomery up until 2010. Do you think it stopped? Look at what was just released by Vault 7. Do you think the CIA has stopped? Do you think Project Dragnet has stopped? No. So they used this information. Obama collected this information. Obama's the new age Hoover on crack. Okay? This is how Obama controlled his White House. This is how the globalists used Obama to control America. And what he did was collect dirt. With Clapper and Brennan, he collected all this intel on anybody he had to. And this is what Joe Appello was saying, and proved, these documents proved that they got, Obama set him up. Obama then, they used this Project Dragnet to capture these telephone calls and others with Judge Snow involved in this, to get Joe Appello. This is my point. This is what's part of this. This is how Obama controlled this country. Okay, it wasn't the Russians doing this. It's Obama doing this. It's our own heads of our own intelligence agencies. And Comey has helped them do this. Loretta Lynch has helped them do this. I mean, and you can't forget about this is why Obama fired numerous generals in the Pentagon, because they didn't agree with him and they knew what Obama was up to. Okay, he cleaned house in the Pentagon as well. Joe Arpaio, yes. You know, one thing. People keep going, Gowdy do this, Trump can do this. You all missed the big point. One person or a couple of people cannot change or drain this swamp. I've been saying it for, I don't even know how long now. It's like talking, one person cannot, people have got to stop relying on congressmen and senators, even presidents and vice presidents, and start relying on themselves and Americans as themselves and as true patriots in this country. South Korea just did it. You know what? And you know, that was a setup. The information's coming out that China, okay, basically set up our good Democratic president that was there for a corruption scandal, got the people to turn on her, and now China's putting in a pro-China president into South Korea, which is not good. Okay? This is how they work. People must stand up now. They build an army. They have an army. They have an army of U.S. citizens that on a daily basis work to stop Donald Trump. Every day. Even if they put in an hour a day, 2 hours a day, whatever it may be, they have an army. And that army is being built. And it's all anti-Trump, anti-Trump, anti-Trump. You saw protesters that some of them turned violent. And again, this is all deliberate tactics to get people to live in fear, to not come out and support Donald Trump. Don't you get it? It's civil war. It's psychological warfare. It's making it is just, oh. And I feel like I'm preaching to, the news that is out, the Montgomery, the National Inquirer, all this shit, and you have Schiff up there demanding now that he's seen something that demands a grand jury and thus a special prosecutor. This is where this is going. And once it gets into the grand jury, you could sell the grand jury anything, right? So pay attention. This is how this will all play out. They get a grand jury involved. Sessions can't have anything to do with it. He's recused himself from the matter. They get a grand jury involved. They sell him a load of bullshit. And all they got to do is get an indictment against Donald Trump or a couple of his people, or not Trump himself, but a couple of his people, claim that the president is illegitimate, okay, and that they interfered again with the elections, or that Trump has ties and he knew about it, and here goes everything. Have a nice day. Understand this? Do you know how easy it is in a grand jury to get an indictment? It's like putting on socks, okay? It's like putting on socks. That's because how bad our justice system is. But it is that easy. Because it's not about the evidence that's presented. It's the theatrics that are and how it's presented. Donald Trump needs to step up to the plate now. Okay? And start calling and ordering investigations into people and also demanding documents to prove and make them public. Make them public. As president, he can declassify them, make them public, give them to the press, show what Obama's done, get involved in this, and this wiretapping thing from Twitter. It's very clear. It's very clear that Obama has not just listened to Trump and his associates all the way back into 2010, as Montgomery's documents show. And he turned over hundreds of millions of documents and data drives to Comey. 2 years ago, Comey's been sitting on it. And the only reason why Montgomery is alive is because he obviously has copies put away someplace safe. And you see his lawyer, who used to be the founder of Judicial Watch, come out and demanding that he was going public with this. He was on Fox. I showed you this on my thing. People need to get outraged by this. You don't see the media, though. Even I said, what's her name on Fox Business was like, huh? That's a bombshell. Like when he's talking, he's like, that's a serious bombshell. Are you saying that Obama spied on Supreme Court justices and other judges? Of course he did. Of course he did. Clapper and Brennan will lie to everybody in the world. Clapper got caught lying about Snowden. Okay? Just remember, we never lie. We don't spy on the American people. Yeah, okay. It's all a big joke. And you know who's the laughing on? The American people. And if you want to keep sitting back and laughing and have them laugh at you and then take your country, because it's going every day, even with Trump in there now, they are destroying the Trump administration. And he hasn't even gotten the full administration. Just think about that. They had tied it up so far that he hasn't even gotten his full administration. Yet they forget that the United States, these assholes, okay, on both sides, forget that the United States, as a republic, has a duty to protect its citizens and operate that under the Constitution of due process in this country. They've kicked to the curb the Constitution at all levels of this country. All branches of government are refusing in some way, shape, or form to function and follow the Constitution and uphold their oaths. If that doesn't scare you, America, then I don't know what should. And this is not fear-mongering. This is facts. Why won't they do anything? Do you ask yourself the question? And I'm going to end on that. I'm going to say it again. Why do they not do anything against Obama, or Hillary, or call them in, for special committee? Because the American people let them get away with it. Get it? That's why. That's why. Because we, as Americans, let them get away with it. Once people realize that very, very important statement, fact, then maybe America will change. Maybe America will unite. But yet when it's against something that they want to call Donald Trump the fascist and the Nazi and the Hitler and the this and the that and divide this country and let Muslims run across our borders, okay? Let, legal immigrants come flying in here. Let's just give away your tax-paying dollars to, everybody, in your hard-working money. Americans, the longer you put up with it, and you don't have to do this violently. I keep saying it. And I'm going to use South Korea. I'm going to keep using South Korea as an example. People stand up. How is Obama standing up against this? How did the Women's March stand up against this? And there's a massive movement going on. And this movement is not just about protesting. See, that's what people think. They're like, how has protesting changed something? This isn't about protesting, so to speak. It's about unifying and standing together for a cause, a serious cause, and that is the destruction of America. God is basically missing from America thanks to Obama and others. And I'm going to say it again. You can point the fingers all you want. And this is why I'm mad at Trump with this bill, okay, the health care bill. Well, Pelosi and that are going to hold. And I respect Donald Trump, but I'm going to say something. This was a bad statement. This is on Pelosi. No, this is on the Republicans and you as a president. Because Ryan and Rents gave you this bill, tried to convince you that it was okay to do this. It is not repeal and replace. It's 3 steps. People do not believe in the 3-step process. And you had no backing. And Ryan knew that it would not get through. So he threw you under the bus, Mr. President. And you better look at his wife as well. Her serious closed ties to the Democratic Party, Hillary Clinton, and the lobbyist that she is. This is a disgrace. There is a huge cloud over Washington, and the president has one of the lowest ratings ever. How are you going to get through and worry about, you can't even get an immigration bill through because the courts are bought and paid for in this country. Why? Why? Where are the Republicans standing up demanding an investigation into, let's just use the Hawaiian judge. Where is it? Where is it? It's not there. It's not there. Republicans in this country, independents, massive. When congressmen see, listen, the left goes into town halls, okay, and disrupts them. This is what